How you doing? Here at the world famous Rock Fantasy Concert Shop and Pinball Room in Middletown, New York. And I started this place up in 1985 as a record shop. We eventually turned into a head shop. We've always been known for pinball machines. Bought a Kiss machine back in like '86. And we added a Space Invaders, a Bonsai Run, a Nugent. And here we are today, zoomed to 2014. We have a room with 30-some pinball machines in it. The latest Stearns, back to 70s classics, 90s Bally Williams. We're about an hour north of New York City. And I don't know, what else would you guys like to hear about?
How long has this room been open? This is the newest edition?
Yeah, this opened March of 2013. We've hosted some tournaments in here. We've had some bands doing in stores. We had the Avengers launch party for Stern New York Metro. We had the Metallica one. We've had the Star Trek Pro tournament here, the AC/DC in this room since we opened it. And we've done in stores with some of the metal bands. We've got Goat Horror in here. We've had Toxic Holocaust. We have a in-store next week with Castle, a band from San Francisco that does a lot of like old school 70s vibe, hard rock. As Embryon says hello to us in the background.
And so you've always had pinball machines, even when it was just the other room.
Yeah, like I said, we had started out. You know, I always loved pinball growing up, going to arcades, Jersey Shore, up in Lake George, Adirondacks. Got into pinballs. My dad bought me a pinball when I was about 15 at the house. Then we didn't have pinball till the store opened. I said, you know, it'd be perfect for the record shop to buy a Kiss game. Had the Kiss game on location. This is back in the 80s. So found one up by Albany, went up and picked it up. I think, you know, at the time, wow, how are you going to spend $400 on a game? You know, we bought a Kiss for $400. Had it in here. We were buying and selling them back then because you could still find them.
Was that the first game you bought?
It was the first game we bought for the store was a Kiss, yeah. And then I met a guy named John Gray, who was about 10 minutes up the road, and he was a guy, this was before the internet, so you couldn't just go search, hey, I want to buy a game. You had to go find them. You'd have to find an operator or find one in an arcade, hope it was for sale, but he used to deal with the operators and buy games, so I bought a Spider-Man, a Gottlieb Spider-Man from him, and that's where I buy all my games. In fact, he got kind of frustrated once the internet came out because then I could find games.
Right.
He liked it if it broke, you could say, hey John, I got a broken game. Okay, I'll come pick that up and I'll sell you another one. Before you even knew, you know, you didn't have anybody to fix them, you couldn't find repairing them. So yeah, that was his, so he was a little upset about that, but we're still friends now.
So
I bought Creature from him last year, so he still gets some games here and there.
That's a good looking game, and you have a unique topper. You said you got that from Argentina?
Yeah, I got that from a guy who's on eBay, and he was out of South America. I also picked up the Private Pinball one, which is also, I guess you can put that on top of the Jackpot if you wanted to also. I thought they were kind of cool, yeah.
Pause it. And so, how did it all begin? Your early days of pinball gameplay?
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, we used to go on vacations every year. My parents would have a trailer, and we used to go camping. And then we'd go to Jersey Shore. We usually stay in. Sometimes we'd camp or stay in a hotel. And of course, you'd go to the boardwalk every year. And the beach wasn't a big attraction for me. It was the rides and the arcades. And you'd go down, you'd see these games. I mean, this was when I'm 5, 6, 7 years old. My dad would bring me in these giant arcades, like say Atlantic City, out on the ocean, and you'd be this high looking at the, you know, the bullseye view of the games, and you know, the North Star, the old EMs, the Gottlieb. You'd see shooting games, you know, you'd see all that kind of stuff, the carnival stuff, and it was very, you know, I guess that left the impression on me. Then going into the teenage years, we'd still go to Wildwood, and you know, you'd find all these different games. I mean, there'd be rows of pinballs like this in every arcade. It wasn't just like finding one with a lousy flipper.
Right.
in a bar now or something, or a laundromat, but you'd be able to come in, and then, you know, there wasn't any internet or anything else.
Right.
So you would see new stuff every year. It's like, oh, look at what just came out, you know, or you'd see stuff you never saw before.
And so, like, you would go there and then you'd see, like, Funhouse for the first time.
Yeah, that's moving into more like my married years. My wife and I would still go to Wildwood or Jersey Shore or somewhere, and, you know, that's what we would do. You know, you go to Seaside Heights, go have a couple of beers, go in and play some pinball. And yeah, she was like Whirlwind, Funhouse. You're talking from that, like the late '80s, early '90s. You would see. I remember playing the hell out of Checkpoint, which most people probably hate that game. But, you know, you get memories of a game just because it was at a certain place.
Right.
So it's sentimental values, whether it's a good tournament player or, you know, it's a whole nother story to start on. Whether, you know.
But what are some games that are memorable that you just enjoyed at times of your life? And
I guess you'd say, like, in the 70s, the Kiss game, of course, like in rock and roll. I remember that being on a hotel floor in one of the hotels we stayed at. You have that weird thing, maybe it's just my nerd pinball side, where I'll remember, like, hey, Roadshow, the first time I ever saw it was in an arcade with a go-kart track in Orlando, Florida. I don't remember other things, but I'll remember, like, hey, where's the first time you saw something like that, you know?
yeah, it's
First
like
time you saw Amazing Spider-Man by Gottlieb was in a 7-Eleven in Wildwood, New Jersey. That never worked. It was there for like 3 summers, and I was a big Marvel kid, so I was like, hey, can't wait. Is it still there? Of course, you know, it had like cases of soda piled up on it. I guess that was early 80s Gottlieb, so I heard a lot of them didn't work well.
so Gary's right when he says pinball it's art, furniture, and a game. So that's unfortunately they're utilizing it as furniture. You say memorable. I remember they have a tapestry of Amon Amarth. The first time I saw them, I went and picked up my Batman Forever pinball machine in Orlando.
Okay.
So that's the same day. So when did I buy that game? Oh yeah.
The day you went and saw the Amon Amarth?
Yeah, and I like to line it up like that.
We'd have the Amon Amarth Valley Viking pinball.
Yep, they have Viking.
That's probably one reason we have it, because we sell a lot of metal in the shop.
Yeah.
Any other part of the store we're not sitting in is a record shop. We specialize in a lot of heavy metal. And of course, classic rock, t-shirts, everything else. So, I mean, this all kind of base for me. I started selling t-shirts on the road in the 80s. Captain Picard and Embryon are trying to gain some
awesome
base here. Embryon's going to fight Captain Picard in a one-on-one battle here in a minute.
It's awesome. That'd be a epic battle.
So I remember I had a store across town in 1980 called Rock and Roll Fantasy. It was mainly a head shop and a record shop, no pinball then, but across the street was the mall, Orange Plaza. And I remember guys coming down, hey, you got to go across the street. They got a pinball machine that talks. And of course,
it's Gorgar. Which
Halloween
did a song about.
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't know this.
They don't know that.
Even Howard Levine, one of my good buddies that you know well, has spent some time in Florida and back here. Yeah, he has a Gorgar. He was in my basement a few weeks ago at my house, and I'm like, you've never heard this song before. It's Halloween singing about walking into an arcade and hearing Gorgar talk.
Yep.
And they made that's one of the coolest pinball / rock crossover things going.
And in the song with Tilt. It's just
and a lot of people don't know, but I mean, what other pinball rock and roll songs are there other than ones, you know, predictable ones like Tommy, Elton John, stuff like that, you know. There's not a lot of rock and roll pinball, and that's a pretty good metal one, I guess.
I think it was the only metal one.
It might have been the only metal. Now we've opened up another can of worms, right?
Yeah. and so before this store, you were selling band merchandise, or what were you doing?
Yeah, before the store was open. I mean, I had a store in 1980 that only lasted a little while. I was a young kid, didn't know what I was doing. And we were selling t-shirts and got out of that. So I went into selling stuff on the road. We did fairs, flea markets every weekend. So I was a bit of a carny. This all goes with the game plan though, you know. Growing up, going to Wildwood, hanging out with the guys that run the rides, getting on the rides for free, buying them a soda. It's like the guy would go, hey, you want to go on the bumper cars all day? Just bring me a hamburger and pizza and get me a soda.
Because they couldn't leave the ride.
And you'd go over there, and and you just hang out on the rides all day. And then, I get money, go play pinball. And it was just, I think I try to recreate that with the shop a little bit, with having a pinball room.
So let's say a teenager came in and says, "Hey, I'll clean all your games. Can I play a game?"
Yeah, sure, I'll give you a couple free.
Yeah.
Is that what you're offering? No, you're not a teenager right now.
No, I'm just saying, getting a reference. If a kid came
It
in,
happens. Yeah, definitely. I got kids that were playing our tournaments and stuff. And I'll give them a couple credits or maybe entry in a tournament for helping us run a tournament.
Yeah.
Of course. So that goes back. We don't have any rides here yet, but my buddy thought that I should get some pretzel cars, which are from the old haunted house, and you get in it and it would drive you around in through the basement, make a dark ride, and drop you into the smoke shop. But I don't know if the insurance companies would go well with that either.
Nah,
but
I wouldn't mind. I think
it
it
would
would
have
be
been a
neat.
cool thing. Yeah.
And so what else do you sell here in the other area? You have used records, new records.
Yeah, we got used records, new records. Of course, we still got CDs. They're going the way of the dinosaur. Ton of concert shirts, incense. Then we got the smoke shop, vaporizers, pipes, glass pipes, local glass pipes from glass blowers. In fact, in this room, we open this up. We take a couple of the pinball machines and fold them up, and we do an open mic. We have live music, and we have a glass blower that sets up in the back of the counter.
Wow.
This happens about 4 times a year. We got one coming up end of July, and we turn this into a real party room.
So you do it, you deal with local businesses as well.
Local bands. We sponsor some race cars down at the fairgrounds. We sponsor a sprint car and a couple dirt modifieds. And we get them. They'll come out and park during the day, and we do stuff like that. Just try to make some noise, keep some promotion going.
And so, what games have been most popular?
Well, obviously, us being a rock and roll store,
Yeah.
a metal store. I mean, the AC/DC's been the king for the last year, and here usually in earnings, battling neck to neck with Metallica.
Wow.
Once in a while, somebody else, like Star Trek when it first came out, was definitely topping them. Last month, X-Men was the top earner. It was a slow month. Wasn't a lot of people around. It's just starting to be nice here in the Northeast after a brutal winter. I think spent a lot. When we had we do a monthly tops tournament on a Stern, and that happened to be the top. So I think that's why I pushed it over earnings on the metal band. Out of the oldies, from the late model ones, I guess like Medusa and Gorgar and Cheetah, usually battling it out for first place on the older models.
And so, so you collect as well. You have a few games, personal games.
I have about 80 games, I think, or 82 games now, I guess.
So,
hit or miss one or two.
So
we got one out at Brian's Backyard Barbecue on location, so we got one on location, and we'll have to maybe another episode of your show. We can go over and take a little film of the house and show you my crazy collection. I was on the film special and lit a few years back. So there was a little footage, but it's changed a little since then.
Nice.
We've got rooms in the house that are themed. We have like a Halloween room.
Nice.
We have what we call a pirate shed. And there's Embryon again. If anybody wants to buy Embryon, I think the guy that owns it's trying to sell it. It's here on loan. His wife doesn't know he has it. So.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Unless she's trolling my YouTube channel.
She might be in trouble.
Yeah, it's for sale on Pinside. It's $2,000.
I'd like to keep it.
He'd like to keep it. I don't know. Let's make a deal. It's a neat game. It's a true wide body.
Going back to the house, we got a room that's kind of like a pirate shed. It's got a lot of space games in there too. A lot of wide body 80s stuff. It's got a circus carnival shed with pinballs in.
And so, when did you get to that? When did you get to that point in collecting where it was just going to grow? Like
started overtaking the house and everything else.
Well, I mean, when you get? Because for me, I'm a collector operator, so it's different. I don't have them all in one place.
Yeah.
But I'm at 18 pinball machines. And it's hard to keep count sometimes. But when you get to 20 or 30, when is it point where it has momentum?
Where
like
it turns into like hoarder type thing?
Well, lift off.
Not really a hoarder because they're all up and running.
They run like lift off mode.
Lift off mode for me was probably when the birth of the internet came around. When I was able to find them easier.
Yeah.
I mean, at one time in my life, I had a bunch of pinballs, and I sold all but one or two because I couldn't find a technician, and I'm not real handy on figuring it out. So we dumped a bunch. We started racing slot cars. We had a big slot car track. It's still one in the basement, but it hasn't been used in years.
Yeah.
But we were racing. We had a slot car league for a lot of the 90s.
90s, yep.
And then early, like late 90s, early 2000s, when my thing blossomed, mid 2000s, I would say, is when we built the sheds at the house. And you know, always had quite a few. We had like 25 in here at one time on the other side of the shop. And then we took them out and made the head shop bigger. So then we had about 5 here. So, you know, now last year we opened this up. I think I'm a little crazy for opening it.
No.
But it's been doing okay. You know, we get there's quiet months in the summer when it's nicer out, I believe. I mean, we're still learning because it's only been here a year. But people seem to dig the atmosphere when you come in. We usually got some good music playing and lights down low and pinball's loud.
Yeah.
Like you go some places, you can't hear the pinball. You don't have to worry about that here.
You can hear, yes.
You can hear.
You can hear them.
They've got subwoofers in from Michael Pupo down at Flipper Fidelity. He's good enough to supply us with a lot of the audio stuff. Pin graphics guys have been supplying us with a lot of pin art for the side of the cabinets, like
and inside too. I'll show you on Metallica.
That has the light kit in it.
Star Trek.
And Joe DeRusso down at Pin Graphics is a trooper, and he's been supplying this stuff. And you know, people come in and see it. Hopefully, they're buying it for their game rooms and their houses and whatnot.
Spider-Man too.
Spider-Man's got the city in it, and then like I got some of the pin blades from Michael Pupo and a couple of games still too. But that was one of my pet peeves: going places and not being able to hear the games.
Yeah,
I mean, some of those guys like to play it with headphones, but hey, when you're playing Metallica or Transformers, you want to be able to hear
it, feel it,
hear the noise. I mean,
not be an afterthought.
Another pet peeve for me is having bright fluorescent lights over your pinball machine.
Oh God,
which some people like.
Like?
Some people like it. I find out, but I don't. See, I think this is a light show. It's not just the audio. You got the whole experience.
Yeah, this is a really good room for it.
I mean, we can make it brighter in here sometimes. Like a lot of real tournament players like to have a little bit brighter. But I think the casual player likes coming here, nice cool afternoon. It's hot out, and you're in a dark room. You just got the pinballs. You can kind of lose track of reality for a little while, maybe.
Yeah, it's a truly unique place. There aren't many record shops in the world that have pinball machines, let alone
and blacklight rooms, maybe too.
Yeah,
scattered around the store.
It's a great selection too, with the Kiss and there's a Green Goblin.
Yeah. Some weird posters we got. Yeah,
we got some good pinball related, music related, and there's Wolverine. That one's great. That one just pops.
That's a newer one, the Wolverine. Actually.
Batman. Have you had a Batman pinball machine here before?
I've owned the Batman Forever game, but it's never been here in the shop ever. I don't believe it used to be at my house and I sold it. I've never owned the Batman
Dark Knight or
Dad East.
Dad East, the first one.
Which I like the looks of, but I think it's just way too easy to play.
Yeah. The Joker face is funny.
Yeah, that is cool. I never owned the Dark Knight. That one should be here, I think. I like that game. I like the Dark Knight, and if somebody wants to trade one for something else, man, we're open for a trade for that one.
Okay, so everybody, Dark Knight.
Of course, we don't have any more room to put any more in. I have to get rid of something. That's the problem. If you own 10 games, some people got room for 10. I've got room for 80 somehow. I got 2 patio games we put out for the summer: a Joker Poker,
yes,
and a Stern Magic at my house. Okay. Those are out on the patio, but they come down second week of September and they get put away underneath the game so much. Joker Poker was here last year, actually, in the shop.
Are there any other games you're looking for in the future? Eventually to trade for? Or?
I got a fetish for Cyclone right now for some reason. Maybe because it's summer and it's carnival season. Got to get a roller coaster midway game in here, but that or Batman, Dark Knight, Twilight Zone. I've never owned, if you can believe that.
Really?
With all the hundreds of games I've been in and out through. I was trying to get a guy that doesn't like it to trade. He wants to trade me for the Funhouse, but it hasn't gone through yet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the interview, and everybody.
Thanks for the interest, man.
If you're ever close to here, I was working in Milford, Pennsylvania. I didn't know how close I was till I was looking up pinball around here, and I said, "That's pretty damn close. 30 minutes. I'm there before work. If you're anywhere around this place, come on out. Have a drink, a soda, play some pinball, buy a record."
You can toss down a couple beers and come in. We got a little bar right next door.
There's a bar right next door.
So hey, if you want to have a couple beers, come in. If you're over 21, it's bring your own beer. So you can also bring a 6-pack or a can of beer with you.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty.